Happy Friday, everybody. I'm Fat Tire. I'm here with 7 Foot Mexican. And our movie review this Friday is going to be Elysium, starring Matt Damon, Jodie Foster. It's directed by Neil Blomkamp. And it's kind of a futuristic take on, without getting too crazy with the sci-fi-esque sort of feeling of it. But it's about basically LA, a few hundred years in the future, more of a resource-deprived kind of a country. And you follow someone who's less privileged, so to speak. Elysium is the name of this space station out in the middle of nowhere where the rich people have seemed to move, and they built their own little resources where they actually seem to oppress and control the poor, which is the inhabitants of Earth, so to speak. So the way the story kind of works is Matt Damon plays your heroic character in this one, and he goes through life. He has a love interest, so to speak, but he ends up getting himself injured. And the only way he can save himself, because it's a life-threatening injury, is to go to Elysium. They get this thing called medbeds, and when you lie on these, as long as you're a citizen, aka rich, you get healed and everything's all good. So it's really a story about him trying to save himself. So not really a selfish sort of story, but it's kind of a unique taste on, unique take on anything we've seen before. It's not all bad. There is some good to it.
Absolutely, there's some good to it. It's a very entertaining movie. Long and drawn out, but overall entertaining. The CG was well done. The seamlessness between the computers, created art and visuals against the real human actors in them are done pretty well, and they interact fairly well as well. It's an interesting story. It's an interesting story. One thing that I don't like is that there's multiple plots. Um, you have Matt Damon trying to do his thing because he's injured and trying to save his life on Elysium. You have Jodie Foster and her trying to do her thing, which I can't say otherwise it'll spoil it. Um, and the movie drags on because it carries on both these plots. But towards the end and when it reaches the climax, it kind of meshes together fairly well and allows that you know that moment that Matt Damon needs to do what he's got to do. So it keeps it interesting. It keeps things rolling along. There's a lot of information, but it's overall extremely a fun watch.
Yeah, as you were just mentioning with Jodie Foster's moment there, I feel like that was kind of a lost cause in this movie too, because it seems like it's about that as well as his story. Like, oh, they're going to kind of interact, but they really didn't until like maybe the last 10 minutes of the film. And it really wasn't
Yeah, like
nothing much. It was just kind of didn't work. All right, end movie. Roll credits. So it's kind of disappointing that aspect, but and it dragged on as you mentioned. It went on forever. It seemed to. You have a story, you can probably hash the story out in a good 90 minutes. They decided to take better part of 2 hours to do it.
yes.
Although it was unique, which is really nice. It did take a different route than most films you see.
hmm
Um,
Exactly. And long story short, that's kind of a pun on the movie because it's really long. It's very action packed. It's long winded, but the movie gets where it's going, and it's got enough action and enough things going on to keep you there in your seat watching. And riveted. I don't know if I like that word, but I'm gonna use it anyway. Um, and we're gonna go along with our rating system today. I'm gonna give it 3.5 out of 5. Fat Tire, what do you give it?
ooh, I'm not so sure with that one. I'm really I'm torn. I'm torn. We talked about this race just before we got started. He couldn't decide between 3 and 4. Me, I'm probably a solid 3 on this guy.
Solid 3. Okay,
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the
that
solid
makes
3.
sense. Yeah, it's
Um,
definitely worth a watch. It's out on Blu-ray and DVD on December 17th, so you can go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. Go ahead, buy to own. It'll be worth it.
Definitely worth it. All right, good night.